selamat sejahtera. My name is Nurul Bashira binti Muhammad Rashid. My matric number is UDB190309. For the introduction, negotiating is a core management activity. It is also a life skills as people are involved in domestic and other negotiations, mainly informally on a daily basis. Negotiations are not a mystic art. The processes can be analyzed and skills systematically developed. While it is true that some people have more innate ability than others, putting this ability into practice often involves learning. Most learning will be by experience, but as with skills generally, the learning process can be accelerated by coaching, reading, and formal training. The key to effective negotiation is developing procedural and process skills so that the framework and conduct of negotiation is such that what is potentially attainable is actually achieved. Negotiating is not solely the province of specialist negotiators. All managers are likely to be involved in some level of negotiation.
Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Syahida binti Muhammad Ghazaman. My matric number is UDB190308. So today I'm going to present my part, which is scenario 1 part analysis. Based on the scenario, Nick and Andy is working in a multinational automotive company in Malaysia. Thus, they want to negotiate with Mr. Ravi that they could get a promotion as a country manager from the current position as regional manager. With the position, it will provide either of them with many opportunities and benefit. Thus, they also can utilizing more of the technical and leadership skills. In Nick's situation, he is keen to try the position that it will bring a good golden opportunity for him and also for his family. However, he didn't discuss with his wife because she is working as a medical practitioner that had a busy working schedule. Thus, Nick decided to proceed with his decision because he thought that his wife will accept his opinion and decision to try the position. Negotiation is a method by which people settle differences. It is a process by which compromise or agreement is reached while avoiding any argument or dispute. In any disagreement, individuals understandably aim to achieve the best possible outcome for the position. The negotiation process for Nick's situation is that he could set up an integrative bargaining, which is he set up with win-win situation with his wife. This is important so that both parties can get the same benefit without causing any conflict on the decision that has been made. The importance in integrative negotiation process is to attempt understand the other negotiator real needs and objective. For this statement, it shows that Nick must make a true effort to understand his wife so that his wife can give her opinion whether if she accept the decision so that they could also think and find solution for the issue. Search for solution, meet the goals and objective of both sides. The process of negotiation includes the following stages. The first stage is preparation, the second stage is discussion, the third stage is clarification of goals, the fourth stage is negotiate towards a win-win outcome, the fifth stage is agreement, and the last stage is implementation of a course of action. In the first step, Nick should prepare all the information on how it will give a big benefit to him and also for his wife. Nick should also give his all best to get his wife's agreement, but he also should understand his wife's needs in the situation. This is because to avoid any argument or conflict occur in the situation. The second step is discussion. Nick and his wife should discuss their own opinion so that they could choose the best alternative for their situation. Lack of discussion may cause an interest to communicate and the issue will not complete if they didn't want to contribute in the discussion. In other words, good communication between the parties could result in productive talks that would make the wage negotiation be faster and less drama. When in the discussion stage, both parties can exchange the information. This will help both parties to understand each other and build trust. When exchanging the information, both parties can state their interests and needs so that they could make many alternatives to solve the matter. In the scenario, it states that Nick decides to proceed to apply and will let his wife know afterwards. If I was in Nick's situation, I will take some time to sit with my wife and discuss the issue so that we could give our own opinion and solve the issue together. Negotiation is important for all people because to satisfy our needs in the situation. The third stage is clarification of goals. It is essential to have a clear understanding of what the other side is seeking to achieve. From the discussion, the goals, interests, and viewpoint of both sides of disagreement need to be clarified. It is helpful to list this in order of priority. Through this clarification, it is often possible to identify or establish common ground. This is not always what they initially state as their aims. Nick and wife should clearly stating what their goals are so that they can work together to seek mutual benefit. The fourth negotiation process is negotiate towards win-win outcome. The purpose of integrative negotiation is to create value or find a way for all parties to meet their goals and share the reward. Win-win negotiation can enable both parties in a discussion to feel that they have made a satisfactory deal and that neither is the losers. In Nick's situation, he should does his utmost to understand his partner's needs and to satisfy them. He should find and arrange time for him and his wife to sit together and discuss this matter. Without being selfish and thought that his wife will simply agree with his discussion without thinking her needs. During negotiation, a great deal of time can be spent in establishing the facts. However, it could be realized that facts tend to provide another area over which to disagree, because people can see the same situation and event in completely different ways. Thus, it should need to be taken into consideration. Nick and his wife should take consideration with their decision and not only accepting the decision of one party only. To create a win-win situation, Nick and his wife should accept and make decisions that will satisfy both needs and avoid conflict. The fifth stage is agreement. An agreement can be achieved once understanding of both sides, viewpoints and interests have considered. After state all viewpoints from both sides, Nick and his wife should keep an open-minded in order to achieve an acceptable solution. Any agreement needs to be made perfectly clear so that both sides know what has been decided. With an agreement, Nick and his wife can continue the interest together because they had already accepted the decision that has been made. The last negotiation process is the implementation of a course of action. From the agreement, a course of action has to be implemented to carry through the decision. After Nick and his wife already agree of their decision, they should make an action based on agreement from both parties. If there is a failure to agree, the process of negotiation will break down and agreement cannot be reached. Thus, they had to reschedule a further meeting is called for. Based on Andy's scenario, it states that Andy has an extroversion personality, which he likes to be sociable, assertive and talkative with many people. He finds himself as a suitable candidate to apply as a country manager. Unfortunately, Andy has a problem to suit himself with Korean food. Once he had been in a bad food poisoning when he eats at the local food from a Malaysian Korean food chain in Kota Kinabalu. Without any hesitation, he thinks that he can counter the problem and it's just only a small issue. The negotiation process for Andy's situation is that he should prepare all information about the location in Seoul. This will help him to recognize all places that has high rating restaurants and many more. Thus, he also had to discuss with his manager about the condition of the new workplace and his safety when he going to start working at the new place. The third process is clarification of goals, and these goals is to apply as a country manager. Thus, he should also think about his health rather than take it lightly as a small issue. In addition, Andy should have an agreement with his manager about the process when he was working at the new place and making sure that he can get the position that he was interested about. As for Mr. Ravi, Andy and Nick determined that Mr. Ravi is a constitutional personality type as per the Big Five personality type. This type of personality has standard features of this dimension include high level of thoughtfulness, good impulse control, and good direct behavior. Based on this type of personality, it shows that Mr. Ravi always spends his time preparing, finishes important tasks right away, pays attention to detail, and enjoys having set schedule. This shows that Mr. Ravi is a good manager and always tends to be organized and mindful of details. The second question is, what will be each party Bana? Bana is described as the best alternative to a negotiated agreement. This is the amount of the many pieces of information negotiators seek when formulating deal-making and negotiation strategies. Bana is a course of action that a party engaged in negotiation will take if the talks fail and no agreement can be reached. Nick should listen to his wishes and act accordingly. This means that Nick should listen to his discussion but also listen to his wife's opinion so that they could build trust for each other. Nick also should use effective negotiation process, which is Nick should wait with a suitable time for discuss with his wife. This is because Nick's wife is working as a medical practitioner and has a busy schedule. In addition, Nick should also work a realistic proposal and avoid conflict. This means that Nick and his wife should exchange their opinion and ideas so that they can consider this decision and avoid conflict. The partner for Andy is that he should discuss with his wife and not only follow his opinion and thought that his wife will accept the same decision. Andy should listen and ask his wife's opinion as well so that they can discuss and solve the problem together and also create a win-win negotiation. Thus, Andy's partner will fail if he didn't discuss with his wife and the wife didn't agree with his decision. In addition, the partner for Andy's situation is that he should negotiate with his manager about the process of the position and also need to taking care more of his health. He should also need to prepare an information of the and ask his wife opinion as well so that they can discuss and solve the problem together and also create a win-win negotiation. Thus, Nick's partner will fail if he didn't discuss with his wife, and the wife didn't agree with his decision. In addition, the partner for in this situation is that he should negotiate with his manager about the process of the position, and he also need to taking more care of his health. He should also need to prepare information of the new place so that he become more comfortable. Lastly, Mr. Ravi's partner is that he is a good manager that always plan his tasks. This made that Mr. Ravi is great in leading his employee and also always be organized and prepare all important tasks. The question is, what are the essential techniques and strategies in the context of negotiation? Good negotiating outcomes are a result of good relationship. Because of that, good negotiators are constantly looking for an opportunities to enhance the relationship. In these terms, it was important for Nick's situation, which is he must be a good negotiator so that he can protect his relationship with his wife. Without being selfish and not open for negotiate with his wife, Nick should always discuss with his wife about the important issue. Secondly, prepare. Information is crucial for negotiation. The more knowledge we have about the situation of the other party, the better position you'll be in to negotiate. The third strategy is think about the best and worst outcome before the negotiation. Don't be upset if things don't go your way. In this instance, it's a good time for re-evaluate all position and return to the table. In most cases, as long as you know the highest and lowest expectation of each party, a middle ground can usually be reached in overlapping areas. The fourth strategy is articulate and build value. This is a key to be a good negotiator. When you are strongly believe that you are negotiating for, you will shine. The tips for build value is be direct when presenting the situation. Be clear about what is expected. Discuss ways to apply what it can happen. In addition, don't simply talk about the needs to be happen. Thus, discuss the consequences and how the solution will be beneficial to the other party. The fifth strategy is give and take. When a person gives something or considers on part of a negotiation, we must always make sure to get some in return. Otherwise, you are conditioning the other parties to ask for more while reducing your position and value. Maintaining a balance will establish that both parties are equal. The other strategies is to ramp your listening skill. The best negotiators are often quiet listeners who patiently let others have their time to present themselves. They will never interrupt. They also encourage the other parties to talk first. In addition, we should always anticipate compromise. You should expect to have concession and plan what they might be. Lastly, stick with our principle. You most likely will have set of guiding principles and values that just won't compromise. If you find negotiation crossing these boundaries, it might be a deal can live without. Question is, what be the objection for each party involved in the scenario? Based on Nick's situation, the objection that he will involve is the disagreement of decision by his own wife. This is because his wife is busy with her work and with sudden news that his husband is about to take the chance to accept the position. This may end up a few disagreement or with the other parties. The second objection is need to get approval. Nick needs to get his wife approval with the decision that he had already made, but due to his wife's busy schedule, that caused him to make his own decision without having time to sit and discuss with his wife. The third objection is not interested with the decision. There might be an disagreement with his wife. This is because his wife might have to think more further because she can't simply accept Nick's opinion because she might have more important things to think about. The fourth objection is unconsideration by Nick itself. This means that Nick is eager to apply country manager, thus it makes that he needs to make first decision and it put his wife in a hard position. Lastly, the objection from both parties. Based on Andy's situation, the objection that he will be involved in is the local food at his new workplace. Andy has experienced a food poisoning at Malaysian local Korean food chain. Thus, this makes that he is worried about the food that will cause him a serious food poisoning. Secondly, is hesitation of his own situation. Andy thinks that he can counter the problem without any problem. The third objection is he takes the issue lightly. Andy finds that the issue still can be managed and that could hamper his work performance. The fourth objection is that his own perception. This means that he takes it lightly about the issue that and think it could disturb his work performance. The fifth objection is he didn't negotiate with his manager about the important matter. Lastly, on the scenario, it states that Mr. Ravi was determined as a constituenous personality. The objection for Mr. Ravi is that he may encourage lower productive levels. Secondly, the employee is afraid to negotiate with him because he is a detailed person. Third, Mr. Ravi needs to explain all terms and conditions about the position to Nick and Andy. Fourth, as the manager, Mr. Ravi needs to create a win-win situation for both of his employees, which is Andy and Nick. The last objection is care of his employee health and condition when they will start working at the new place.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Nurul Nabia binti Muhammad and I am from UDB 190320. My scenario is scenario 2 and scenario 3. The scenario 2, the question is what will each parties but now? But now stand for best alternative or to negotiate agreement. Bana is what the party going to do if they don't reach a goal, and Bana also prevent the agreement from going against their will. More than that, in this scenario, I used two different negotiate, which is Bana and Zopa. Zopa is stand for zone of possible agreement. This used when the two parties have the same goal, and Zopa used for comes to the conclusion of the negotiation. In using Bana for the Diana and Zopa is for the Mr. Jennings. As Diana, I can convince the head manager to agree with me by working from home because first of all of my condition. The reason why I want to continue working from home is because I want to improve my health and at the same time improve my performance and productivity. My health and at the same time improve my performance and productivity. Working from home is giving so much benefit, such as we could have less stress, save money, save time, and at home we could create a positive environment. Even though I've been working remotely from home for the past 4 weeks, and I have shown the result that my salary has increased by 0.5%, and customer complaints decreased by 10%. However, working from home also bring me some difficulties, such as communication and interact with workers and manager. However, I have a few ways how to face the problem. Is in communication, I can use technology and made a video call with the client, manager, and my coworker. Working at home also give me some flexibility time for myself, and I can make my own schedule to continue work and with my privacy. As for the Mr. Janice, as the head manager, she has been used Zopa, which is she improve and accepting the negotiate by Diana. If she thinking about firing her, Mr. Janice could have lose a good and ambitious employees like Diana, and to replace her might find difficult and take a long time. And that's all for the scenario 2. So we've moved to the scenario 3. The scenario 3 is what are the essential technique and strategy in the context of negotiation. Strategy in negotiation is a predetermined approach of prepare plan of action to achieve a goal or objective to make an agreement or contract. And also understanding the other party's interest and tactic is integral to good negotiating. Choosing a strategy the best respond to their interest and tactic will help you achieve the best outcome. In technique negotiation, which they often looking effective for a win-win negotiation and on trying to claim as much value as they can without trying to create a new source of value. This technique also could help improving on person skills. From my view of Fadil, Fadil can use the few strategy, which is collaborate, accommodation, competition, and avoidance. Fadil need to prepare as much data he could while he the one who lead the negotiation. He also can persuading the benefits they could get in the training. And for the technique is Fadil can preparing and do the research, pay attention, leave behind his ego, ramping up listening skill, let them talk first when we could come up with the best idea, encourage the other side to talk first. This way we could see their weakness and we could find a way to overcome their weakness and offer a commitment. In the view of senior executive, which is he is avoiding the change, he doesn't want to accept it or making a differences to the company. by stating that learning and go to the training is only making he losing time by with this new software. In this matter, he only want to stand for what he need, but not for the company and for the improvement, but not for the company and for the improvement. The senior executive didn't realize that if he go to the training, he would get so much information and learning how to use the new software, because the new software could give so many benefits for their company and can save a lot of time for them. For the scenario 3, the question 1 is what would be each party negotiation? So in my view of Fadil is the first one, if Fadil can clarify the problem from senior executive, and he also can acknowledge the senior executive objection so that it can be fixed. And the last one is respond and figure out senior executive and starting to by giving the benefit statement. So in my view of senior executive is statement the issue and explaining the objection and identify of how and why that he is inconsistent with the new replacement of software. So for the question 2 is what will be each party by now? In my view of Fadil is changing management software, helping them to solve the problem by consolidating ideas, tasks, responsibility and result all in one place that is accessible by any member of the organization from anywhere and anytime. Software benefits such as improvement the efficiency of staff and increasing office productivity, change management software help the business gain control over the constant course correction necessary to improve the business. Further possibly could contact the general manager and see what sort of authority the agency has over such as this in this situation. Further can invite professionals to attend the senior every week for 3 hours for the training program. Further could make a small group teaching to help learner understanding of the information. And in my view of senior executive is chance the program is not successful and the cost to implementing the new software is high. To training the employees it took long time and cost to pay for the training and on the new software. Senior executive could asking for a general manager to keep using the old software and on the new software. Senior executive could asking for a general manager to keep using the old software. For the question 3 is what are the essential technique and strategy in the context of negotiation? In my view of Fadil, he could use this technique is preparing, pay attention, leave behind the ego, ramping up listening skill, offer and commitment. And the last one is stick to the principle or goal and do not absorb their problem by trying to fix the problem. And the strategy is structure the team, set engaging targets, resolve conflict quickly, show patience, be persuasive, be creative, and remain positive and supportive. In my view of senior executive, the technique he could use is reject and change on Friday nicely, Be calm and don't rush to get what he wants. Prepare and come up with a great idea. And for the strategy is say no to the change. Explaining the reason why he reject to the change. List the disadvantage and create a conflict over the changing. Discuss with Fadil by elaborate the advantage and disadvantage. And the last one is stay with his opinion until he made the last word. For the question 4 is what will be the objection for each party involving in this scenario. In my view of senior executive is how would this change and replacement benefit the company? What if we lose the data? What the cost will be enough? Also, can we have the guarantee for the replacement software to get better if we replace it? The last one is we don't have time to change the replacement. In my view of Fadil is why would the senior executive objection to the replacement software request? Is it convenience that replacing software could make the company improvement? There will be no next time to replacement the software. The success is through calculate the risk so that the company could careful in making the right decision. And the last one is there's a high praise for inaction when it comes to changing. And that's all from me. So now we're moving to the question 3. What are the essential technique and strategy in the context of negotiation? First of all, in technique negotiation, which they often looking effective for a win-win situation and on trying to claim as much value as they can without trying to create a new source of value. This technique also could help to improving one person's skills. Meanwhile, in strategy is predetermined approach or prepare plan of action to achieve goal or objective to make agreement or contract. For Diana technique is prepare and ready. Don't focus on just winning the negotiation. Make a first move, open-ended question, keeping the statement brief. And for the strategy is using the win-win strategy, including the need right because it will be easier to end the negotiation without any lose. Contingent agreement and the last one is to create a value is by using negotiation damage upfront. The technique is preparing, be patient listener, speak clearly and precisely, and the strategy is competitive, avoidance, a combination, collaboration, and the last one is compromise. Avoidance, a combination, collaboration, and the last one is compromise. Now the last question is question 4. What would be the objective for each party involving in this scenario? For the objection is about the company culture, lack of communication from my worker when I was at work, had to skipping my lunch to finish my work, money issue, and my sedentary lifestyle. And for Mr. Jennings is you can focus on work while at home. How will I know if you're working on our company policy? While at home it will be
recommendation. The first question is, what strategies would you utilize to overcome the objection knowing his personality type? For Nick's scenario, he is the type of person that knows what most important to him and not asking for his wife's opinion and agreement. This means that he is selfish and not think about his wife's decision first. Nick also is an intuition person. This type of personality prefers to focus on possibilities and the big picture of the big opportunity that he gets. Thus, In that matter, Nick should also wait for his wife to get her own opinion so that they could make some solution for the issue. Nick also should not only follow his own decision, although the decision may give a huge benefit to himself. In addition, he should also stop going through all the possibilities that his wife will agree with his decision. He should take slow and ground himself a moment so that he can find a time with his wife to discuss the matter. This situation, he is an extrovert person that likes to be sociable, assertive and talkative. This made that Andy is a person that was easy to talk with. In addition, Andy didn't take small issues seriously. He should take the issue more serious so that he can overcome the problem more effectively. Based on the scenario, Mr. Ravi has a big five personality. Thus, he is the type of person that always spend time preparing, finishes important tasks right away, pays attention to details, and enjoy having set schedule. He has a characteristic as a good leader towards his employee. Question is, why it is important to negotiate with a sense of benefit for your negotiation partner. As a consequence of varying needs, wants, aim, opinion, and belief of the parties brought together, conflict and disagreement are inevitable. In addition, good negotiation help to build a relationship. This is because the aim is to foster goodwill despite the differences in interests. With good negotiation also will deliver quality solution that also last longer instead of short-term solution that fails to satisfy either of the parties completely. This is because it enables you to make concessions such they may be a little importance to you, but it gives the other important party something that means a lot to them. In this statement, it shows in Nick's scenario which that he and his wife should discuss together so that they can create quality solution. About Nick is applying the country manager position. Good negotiation also help in avoiding future conflict and problem by leaving both parties equally satisfied with no barriers to communication for the future. The statement also refers to to Nick and his wife. If Nick good in negotiation, we discuss and think of many ways with his wife to satisfy both needs. This will avoid from conflict occur when if Nick just only follow his own decision without talk with his wife. With good negotiation, it will help both parties to create win-win negotiation, which means that both parties get the same benefit and avoid disagreement or conflict when negotiating. Third question is, what strategies will you utilize to achieve effectiveness, efficiency, and negotiation climate? What negotiation strategies and tools would you utilize to avoid failure? Strategies for effective negotiation is problem solving. Both parties committing to examining and discussing issue closely when entering in long-term agreement that warrant carefully scrutiny. Secondly is contending, persuading your negotiation party to concede to your outcome if you are bargaining in one of negotiation or over major weights. Thirdly, yielding, conceding a point that is not vital to you but is important to other party. The fourth effective strategy is compromising. Lastly, inaction. This strategy is buying the time to think about the proposal gather more information, or decide your next tactic. The type of strategy that will avoid failure is don't focus on winning. Negotiation is not a competition. Ultimately, we have to define our goals and then take a proper action and reaction to reach those goals. Secondly, we must be prepared to give something up. We're not going to get everything that you want. Make sure that identify the areas where you are willing to flexible and where you are not. Thirdly, share information. Little information can help increase the outcome. With giving information, it can help both parties to communicate and discuss alternatives to solve any issue. Other than that, the negotiator must clarify any misconceptions. During the negotiation process, it's common for misconception to occur since both parties is saying or thinking. Thus, this can lead to conflict and disagreement. The fifth strategy is pause. A pause can be a secret weapon since it encourages the other parties to speak up or cool down when things get heated. The sixth strategy is when you are negotiating. Never make assumptions and do not rush. In addition, ramp up your listening skill. The best negotiators are often quiet listeners who patiently let others the floor while they make their case. They never interrupt and encourage the other side to talk first. Thank you.
Scenario 2, recommendation for question 5. What strategies will you utilize to overcome the objection knowing his personality type? The most common manager objection to flexible working revolves around trust and control. How do I know you are working if I can't see you? What if I need you and you aren't available? The employee has to go in with a plan that includes more communication. For example, have a conversation about expectation, deadlines, milestone, work hours, how often will evaluate the arrangement. Another strategy is big manager concern is productivity. If I give you flexibility, what's the impact on productivity and client service? Beyond face time, how does your manager measure productivity if he doesn't devise short and long-term metrics to make your case? In most workplaces, flexibility exists as an informal accommodation. Managers will give it to top performers, but some bosses object to all requests by saying, if I do it for you, I will have to do it for others. To make managers more comfortable about maintaining control, the company has gone to online scheduling. A manager can see who is scheduled at what time and where. An employee can go online and choose her schedule week in advance. Another manager objection to flexible work arises from concern about practicalities. How will we collaborate? What if we don't have the technology to enable someone to work from home? This is where you need to get creative. Sometimes what your company already use and free programs that are available to allow virtual collaboration, instant messaging, Google file sharing, a virtual whiteboard or Skype. Lastly, job security continues to factor into manager reluctance. Most will say, if not think, what if I stick my neck out to support this? What has my back? Who has my back? To analyze the risk to your manager and figure out how to lower it, this could mean suggesting the arrangement as a short-term pilot program to prove it benefits. Show the boss you got his back. Scenario 2, recommendation for question 6. What is it is important to negotiate with a sense of benefits for your negotiating partner? The key to success lies in the so-called address-related communication. If you want to convince your negotiating partner, your agreement mainly has to be address-based. That is, it has to be plausibility based on the interests of the other party by taking the thoughts, feeling, interests, and experience of others into account. Note the principle of reciprocity in negotiation, whereby you should not give anything away to your partner without getting something in return. Give reason and justification for any demand or proposal. Always give your negotiating partner the opportunity to revise his position without losing face. The great skills of conversation and negotiation is to make the characteristics and qualities of your offer. In example, your arguments represent and address directly the interests of your negotiating partner. In this context, interdisciplinary negotiation, communication and reasoning skills are of decisive importance. Conversation, argumentation and negotiation skills is the ability to convincingly act and to meet the negotiation or dialogue partners, be they superiors, colleagues, customer or external stakeholders such as suppliers, politicians or investors, with a sophisticated negotiation techniques in order to achieve the desired goals. Scenario 2, recommendation for question 7. What strategies will you utilize to achieve effectiveness, efficiency, negotiating climate? What negotiation strategies and tools will you utilize to avoid failure? Explain in detail. Before engaging in any negotiation, the most important item and the foundation for everything else is to be prepared. Even spur of the moment negotiations such as encountering a core team member of other stakeholders in the hallway benefit from a quick mental preparation and review of the processes. A solid project plan, communication plan, political plan, stakeholder management strategy, etc. provides essential background for effective negotiations. One of the principles of effective negotiating is to go for win-win. That should be your only acceptable outcome, or else you have the option not to negotiate, especially if the status quo is an okay alternative. Intentional influencing does not have to result in winners and losers, or be characterized as manipulation, conflict or competition. To achieve win-win outcomes for all stakeholders, consider all stakeholders and how they will be impacted. Ask for their thoughts and listen carefully to their responses. Answer their questions. When problems arise, consider how to evaluate the problems or what might make it worth the extra trouble. Offer something of value in exchange that is at least of equal value as what you are asking of them. Another key principle is being prepared for negotiations, knowing both the other side's options as well as starting and desired end points. If you are being asked to negotiate without this information, you are definitely at a disadvantage. Then you need to ask lots of questions and take more time to fully explore needs and options before rushing to a judgment and outcome that could have far-reaching negative consequences. Everybody train themselves to remain firm in applying the 10 rules of negotiating.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Nur Arina binti Syahida. I'm from UDB 19. My matric number is UDB 190316. Today I will present the subject of negotiation skill. Part recommendation. Number 1 is question 5. What struggling would you utilize to overcome their objection, knowing his personality types? The answer to that question is C. Objection as question. Salespeople offer here objection has personal attracts that make for a more positive convention than a decision. Answer the objection is the question as with very step of the sale process. Asking the right question is a very important. Handholding objection is a no expectation. The best way to engage prospectors in dialogues is to help us solve their problems better. Restate the objection before answering the objection is the best to check, to understand, and show we are listening by depicting our prospecting objective. objection. Pause before answering. Then people sells when their respond to objection. When respect objection, stop, listen, and pause. The show the prospect that we are legally listening to hear rejection, not just trying to sell it. Use testimony and past experience. Do not avoid answering an objection. In a straight facts, objections are a great time to share testimony. Never agree with a prospect. Customer is always right. Is always the case when dealing with objection. It is not a good idea to disagree or debate with the customer. When if a idea is wrong, relationship are built on trust. So it is best to use use objection to build trust. Do not break them. Now, question 2 is question number 6 is, what is it important to negotiation with a sense of benefit for your negotiating partner? The answer to the question is building relationship by consulting, by asking then listening carefully. Although we have decided to make the first offer and be prepared with a number of alternatives. Relationship and negotiation is relationship that are considered physiological, economic, politic, or personal. Whatever a basic ways leaders such a skilled consultant strive to forget strong relationship because effect leadership is high depends on them. Positive negotiation relationship is important not because they avoid wrongs, vague feelings, but because the avoid trust an important way to get the decided actions from another. Consider that purposed action, whether suggested by a negotiation at the beginning table or a leader in a strangles meeting process. Some ranks of other corporate with us the streets of with a respect we train to respond well. If they look athlete and competitive, we will behave like that. The nature of receptual through reinforce the value of spend time getting to know another and building relationship before we start negotiating. 3 is question number 7 is, what struggling will we utilize to achieve its effectiveness, and negotiating climate. The negotiations struggles and tools who you will utilize to avoid failures. Explain in details. The answer to the question is, knowing our negotiation environment is critical to using the most appropriate struggling. We call it situation awareness. In most situations, we have a choice of consulting struggling. We will be more effective creative consulting is understand the situation and the environment well. Do not confuse situation unwellness with a negotiation matter. We may be told that we should, for example, wear a dark suit with a touch of red to remove struggle, or sit at around the table to convey readiness to work in the team. We may be told not to cross hands because it can be interpreted as closer to ideas, or use another body language to radiate self-confidence. Really understanding and the situation means more than what touch we wear, the shape of the table, or the body language of the interpretation. Means to think clearly about the relationship or potential relationship we have with the other party and understand the relative importance of the outcomes. And the last part is a conclusion. Our ability to make agreement, resolve deadlock situation, antiseptic, prerequisites, and abstract sustainable offer requires all the skill, traits, knowledge, and self-witness we have described in the negotiation book. For many people, the changes faced by negotiation do not come naturally, and like most rewarding personal development opportunities ways available. Negotiating effectively is first and foremost about us accepting that only we can influence the situation we face. Time to climb down. See the tactic for what they are. Time to calm down. See the tactic for what they are, and be brave and practice. Real or perceived struggle, however, products will pay around in our negotiation, and not matter how good we are as negotiation, where the balance of power against use or our circumstances will inevitably lead to frustration or compromising feelings. Belief in our instructions be claimed. That will make then the difference between the agreement is in which we create a value, and the agreement is which we simply disseminate it. Thank you.